So once you are past the leadership and understanding that whenever you're going somewhere, this is not going to be a straight line, and which is the discussion we've had. Then the next thing, now you've set up this organization or your home or something. The next thing is very important, and we've been talking about this all morning, facing the difficult facts. And that is a huge issue for an organization. So you want to know the truth, the truth, the truth. So greatness in an organization comes from knowing the truth. And that's the only thing that matters. So if you are...
There are problems with that, though, because who reports the truth? And then what spin do they put on it? What fact do they selectively perceive and selectively distribute? And then how does the leader himself or herself actually then interpret it? It starts to become extremely complicated.
Very true. But in these organizations, and in most successful organizations, it's a round table. And everyone is at the table. So you'll see people try to do this, it's like any employee who has any question or thoughts or anything, no matter how separated they are from the administration, they should have the ability to voice it, to talk about it, and so forth. Do you really think that if a gate agent who had this issue wrote what they should do and they said, I don't have the ability to be an owner, because if I was an owner, I would say, here's a hotel room, here's a meal ticket, here's everything, we're going to take care of you. But they don't have the ability. But if they could, you see, and get it to the deciding body, which is a round table of leaders, then it would happen.
It sounds like empathy is the thing that's needed. And the thing is, empathy doesn't lead to less, it leads to more. It leads to more money.
Yes.
It leads to fewer upset customers, fewer bad news stories, and more people looking and marveling at these companies that are operating really well. And I wouldn't be surprised if those companies ended up taking disproportionate market share from others based on how good people feel by engaging with them. And then now, services and products, as we sit today in 2018, I think, are extremely good. We've got great healthcare, we've got great cameras, great everything.
Sure.
But what people are lacking is a certain sense of trust, like we said. As I brought up the Metallica line, trust I seek and I find in you. When you can offer that to somebody in any regard, whether you're a kid and another kid, or whether you're a doctor and a patient, whatever it is, that's what they want, that's what they come for, and that's all they really care about. And I think any company that embraces that and puts that into the fiber of their being does a deep service to the person. Forget the thing that they actually do on the surface.
Exactly, because it's just a thing. It's just a thing. I mean, you're buying an experience. You're buying it rather than a thing, and that company needs to understand that. So you really need a council in a company. We have that in my organization. It's a council that is, again, a round table of people who are stakeholders, and they speak the truth. So if you're the president, you don't want to surround yourself with yes men. Or yes women. You want people who will give you their best advice. And then we talked about Kennedy. Kennedy got all kinds of advice.
Well, he also blamed his Bay of Pigs mistake on bad advice.
Absolutely. Yeah, because...
He said just because these people are da-da-da-da-da doesn't mean they know anything about what they're talking about.
Exactly. Or they're looking through these blinders.
Or they have an agenda.
Yes. And the people of the country, the thing is, the realization of a good president is that the people of the country elected him to be the president. Him. Not general this, not this guy, not that guy, him. He is responsible to those people, and his number one responsibility is good judgment. That's why they voted for him. They voted for him because they think that he's got their interests at heart.
One of the great photos of Kennedy, it's either a photo or a painting, is one where he's... You've seen this one?
Yes.
That one says a lot. It's an unusual photo, right? Because if you look at photos of George Washington, he looks glorious, and a lot of Kennedy photos, he looks glorious, and so on. But that one right there, that when I was even young, there was a photo of that in my middle school, and it spoke to me.
Very nice.
There's a burden of being someone who has all these things to be responsible for. And in a lot of ways, it's not an enviable spot at all. In a lot of ways it is. You know, you're the boss and so forth.
You choose it. It's humility. It's that actually is his portrait in the White House. That's his presidential portrait, which says a lot about his whole thing.
You hardly see his face. You don't see his eyes.
Mm-hmm. That's him. That's the man. And again, this is not about him specifically, but we obviously respect that. In fact, it's very interesting. There is a painting we have in my office and in my operating room of a surgeon, very much in a similar pose, where he is actually, his head is down, he's bowing, and his fingers are crossed like this, which really reflects, in my eyes at least, I don't know whoever painted it, what they had in mind, but it reflects the humility of the surgeon in taking on a major task, and his belief that there is a higher power that's going to guide him. And that's important. And I think that is the kind of thing that if you're in a position of leadership of any kind, where human lives are involved, and it's most of the time, if not all the time, you need to take those two very seriously.